Have you ever felt like no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you just can't seem to get her attention? Have you ever had sleepless nights replaying your conversations, wondering, why doesn't she feel the same pull toward me that I feel toward her? Let me ask you a deeper question. What if I told you that making her think about you constantly, crave your presence, and feel magnetically drawn to you isn't about looks, money, or status? What if it all comes down to one psychological secret, a secret so powerful that, once you master it, she won't be able to get you out of her mind? If you're ready for the truth, not the fairy tale society sells you, but the raw, real psychological key that top seducers and charmers use, stay with me until the very end of this speech. Because once you know this, you hold the power. We grow up being told that attraction is luck, or chemistry, or fate, that you'll just know when the right person comes along. But what if attraction, deep emotional obsession, could be sparked deliberately? What if, by understanding how the mind works her mind, you could leave behind the frustration, the confusion, the friends, owning and instead create a lasting, irresistible presence in her thoughts? I'm here to tell you, this isn't about manipulation. It's about awakening something in her that wants to think about you. Because when you learn this psychological secret, you don't need to chase, you draw her in effortlessly. Let me take you back to a time when I didn't know this secret. I was just like most guys, maybe like you right now. There was this woman I couldn't stop thinking about. Every time she smiled, every time she brushed past me, my heart raced. I wanted her, but no matter how hard I tried being nice, giving compliments, buying gifts, showing up for her, it was like I was invisible. She liked me as a friend, she appreciated me as a helper, but desire, obsession, I wasn't even close. There was one night I remember vividly. We'd gone out in a group. I made her laugh. I thought I saw that spark. And then, as the night ended, she turned, hugged me like a brother, and walked away with another guy. I stood there in the cold, watching them disappear, feeling utterly defeated. That was the night I realized what I thought would attract her was actually pushing me deeper into the friend zone. But that night wasn't the end. It was the beginning. I made a decision. I would study attraction like a science. I would uncover what makes certain men unforgettable, the ones she thinks about at 2 a.m. when she's alone in bed. The ones whose texts make her heart race, the ones she can't stop wanting, and what I discovered changed everything. You see, most men are taught all the wrong things about attraction. They're taught, be nice, and she'll like you. Always be available, and she'll appreciate you. Give her attention, and she'll give you love in return. But let me ask you, has that worked? I mean really worked to the point where she dreams about you, craves you, and can't stop thinking about what it would feel like to be yours? Probably not, because here's the truth. Availability doesn't create desire. Predictability doesn't create obsession. And being nice, if it's all you bring, doesn't create passion. What creates those intense, unforgettable feelings in her? The psychological secret that every natural seducer uses without even realizing it. So what is this secret? It's called emotional imprinting. Here's what it means when you create powerful, emotionally charged moments with her. Moments of excitement, surprise, challenge, unpredictability. You imprint yourself onto her mind. You become the source of emotional highs, and the human mind, her mind, is wired to seek out and dwell on the source of those highs. Think about it. The men who haunt a woman's thoughts aren't the ones who gave her flowers on the first date and replied to every text within seconds. They're the ones who took her on a roller coaster, not just literally, but emotionally. The ones who made her laugh hard 1 minute, left her wondering what he was thinking the next. The ones who challenged her, teased her, made her feel alive. Here's the kicker, the mind doesn't crave comfort. The mind craves stimulation. That's why she can't stop thinking about the guy who made her feel something. That's why when you create those emotional spikes, moments of tension, mystery, fun, even mild frustration, she will replay those moments over and over. When I learned this, I stopped being the always available guy. I stopped showering women with predictable compliments. Instead, I started focusing on creating moments. I'd tease playfully instead of flatter. I'd tell stories that took her on a journey. I'd sometimes delay replying to a text, not because I was playing games, but because I wasn't trying so hard to please. And guess what? The dynamic flipped. The same woman who once saw me as a friend started texting me late at night, asking where I was, wanting to see me, thinking about me, and this wasn't manipulation. This was about becoming a man who sparked emotion, who brought excitement into her world. Let's get into the psychology. Neuroscientists have found that the brain prioritizes emotionally significant memories over neutral ones. That's why you remember the day you won an award or the night of your first kiss, but you forget what you ate for lunch last Tuesday. When you create emotional moments by being unpredictable, fun, mysterious, challenging, you activate the same part of her brain that makes memories stick. You become unforgettable because you become associated with powerful emotional energy. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. The human brain confuses emotional arousal with attraction. So when you're the source of emotional arousal, whether it's laughter, excitement, or curiosity, she will interpret those feelings as desire for you. Let me give you a few practical ways this plays out. Instead of telling her, "You're so beautiful," tease her, "You've got that dangerous smile," the kind that gets guys in trouble. Instead of planning a boring, standard dinner, surprise her, "Meet me, no hints, just be ready for adventure." Then take her somewhere unexpected, a rooftop with a view, a salsa class, a night market. Instead of replying immediately to every message, sometimes let the tension build. Let her wonder what you're up to. Share stories that trigger emotions, moments of triumph, humor, challenge. Let her feel like she's part of your inner world. Every time you do this, you're building that emotional imprint. You're making sure that when she's lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, you are the one she's thinking about. So here's what I want you to do starting today. Stop focusing on pleasing. Stop focusing on saying the right thing or doing what you think she wants. Instead, focus on creating moments. Focus on bringing emotion, surprise, fun, mystery into every interaction. Because when you do this, you'll see it happen. The text that comes late at night, the way she looks at you differently, the way she leans in, wanting more. Remember, the only thing standing between you and becoming the man she can't stop thinking about is your decision to act. The psychological secret emotional imprinting is now yours. The question is, will you use it? After I began experimenting with emotional imprinting, I started seeing patterns. Let me tell you about one night that changed everything for me. I was at a rooftop bar, one of those places where the city lights seem endless, where the music hums low enough that conversation feels intimate. I met her, let's call her S. She was stunning, the kind of woman who walks into a room and makes people pause. The old me, I would have tried too hard, compliments, buying her a drink, asking polite questions, but I decided to do something different. We talked. I didn't ask about her job or where she was from, boring small talk. Instead, I said, "Tell me about the most ridiculous adventure you've ever had." Her eyes lit up. She told a wild story about getting lost in a foreign country and finding her way back by sheer luck. I laughed, teased her, said, "So basically, you're a disaster waiting to happen." She playfully punched my arm. "You're not supposed to say that." "Oh, I call it like I see it." I grinned. That night, I didn't try to impress. I focused on the emotional energy. I built moments. I gave her a little unpredictability, a little challenge, a little fun. The next day, she messaged me. She couldn't stop thinking about our conversation. We met again and again. And she told me, "You're different. You're not like the others. I never know what you're going to say next." That's the power of emotional imprinting. Let's break this down. If you want to make her think about you, truly crave you, you need to avoid these common traps. Overavailability. When you're always available, there's no mystery, no anticipation. She knows she has you. The mind doesn't chase what it already possesses. Overvalidation. When you flood her with compliments, you might think you're building attraction, but you're just making yourself predictable. Compliments lose value when they're constant. Oversharing too soon sharing your feelings, your intentions, your dreams. These are all good in time. But too soon, and you remove the tension, the intrigue, people, pleasing, always agreeing, always saying yes, always adjusting yourself for her. This doesn't build desire. Desire comes from being you unapologetically. These mistakes come from a place of wanting to be liked. But being liked doesn't make you unforgettable. Being felt makes you unforgettable. Now let's talk tools, the things you can start doing immediately to leave an imprint on her mind. 1. The power of challenge. Don't agree with everything she says. If she says she loves a certain band, playfully challenge her. Really? I thought you had good taste in music. Do it with a smile. The goal isn't to insult, it's to play, to spark energy. 2. Unpredictability. Routine is the enemy of passion. Predictability breeds boredom. Surprise her. Change plans last minute to something more exciting. Send a random text that makes her laugh. Share a thought at an unexpected moment. Keep her guessing, not about your intentions, but about what new adventure or emotion you'll bring next. 3. Storytelling that stirs emotion. Tell stories that make her feel. Instead of "my day was good," try, "I had this hilarious disaster at work today. I'll tell you when I see you." Build anticipation. Make your stories rich with humor, drama, triumph. Let her feel the ups and downs. She'll associate you with emotional energy. 4. Scarcity of attention. When you give attention in small, powerful doses, its value skyrockets. Be present when you're with her, but don't flood her phone with constant messages. Let there be gaps where she wonders, "What's he doing right now?" Remember, attention that's earned is remembered. 5. Touch that builds tension. I'm not talking about being inappropriate. I'm talking about subtle, respectful physicality that builds closeness. The light touch on the arm when you make a point, the playful nudge, the brief hand on her back as you guide her through a door. These micro touches create connection. They make you feel real, present, and desirable. Let me share one of the most potent secrets used by master seducers, consciously or unconsciously. It's called push-pull. This is when you give warmth, approval, attraction, and then you pull back, create space, or playfully challenge. Example, right arrow push. "You know, I wasn't expecting to meet someone this fun tonight." Right arrow pull, but don't let it go to your head. "I'm not that easy to impress." Push, pull creates emotional whiplash in a good way. It creates highs and lows that imprint you into her emotional memory. She doesn't know what's coming next. That's what keeps her engaged and thinking about you when you're not around. Here's the psychological truth most people miss. People value what they feel emotionally invested in. When you create emotional spikes, moments of tension, mystery, fun, she invests. She starts replaying moments, interpreting meanings, wondering about you. She begins to choose you in her mind because you're the source of those emotional highs. And the more she chooses you in her mind, the more her heart follows. Let me tell you about a woman I met at a friend's party. She was icy at first, polite, but distant. The old me would have tried to win her over with compliments or drinks. Instead, I leaned into the secret. I noticed she had an unusual pendant. I asked about it, but not in a boring way. "Is that your good luck charm or your secret weapon?" She laughed, the first real smile I saw. A little of both. We talked. I teased, I challenged, I shared an adventure story that had her leaning in. At one point, I said, "You know what? I can't decide if you're trouble or just pretending to be." By the end of the night, she was the one finding ways to keep the conversation going. She was hooked not because I was the richest, best looking guy there, but because I made her feel. So here's what I want you to commit to right now. Stop trying to impress. Start creating moments. Be the man who brings excitement, who makes her feel alive, who is unpredictable in the best way. Use challenge, humor, storytelling, scarcity, and touch to create emotional highs. Because once you do, she will think about you, not because you forced it, but because you became unforgettable. Emotional imprinting isn't about tricks. It's about understanding human nature, about becoming the man who sparks desire, passion, and connection. The question now is, are you ready to step into that role? Are you ready to be the man who lives in her thoughts long after the night ends?